So I just got done binge watching the entirety of the OA in 2 days. I went into this thinking, yeah, it would be whatever, right? Left that shit like... Come on! Give it on for me! This show is absolute fire. This show is crystal meth combined with Boston Big Beans and alcohol put in a blender that was engineered by Rachel Ray's ancient cooking master that had waves and a PhD in quantum physics, then blended together, poured on a white chick's left booty cheek, while she is listening to a Childish Gambino song. It's insane how much there is to enjoy about this show. And don't worry, none of that bullshit run-on sentence was a spoiler. That shit is actually too mundane to try to explain this show. It's crazy. Like, what genre even is this show? You can't even pinpoint it, and that's a huge part of what makes it feel so unique and creative. Instead of being like every single other show that exists by following a formula like a teen mom named Tori Lee in a baby care section in a Walmart, this show is unexpected, and it switches up all the time. It's hard not to enjoy, especially season 2, which I think is the absolute height of this show. So why, oh why, have I never heard about this show before? Especially when its subject matter, without spoiling it, is right up my alley, as a ghetto-ass motherfucker that likes sci-fi and shit. And white chicks, of course. I would actively search for a show like this, and yet still, I wasn't aware this show existed. Netflix did not in any way market this like they should have. Not only have I never heard about this show until it was canceled, but even if I were to have seen the trailer they had back when the OA first released in late 2016, it wouldn't have caught my attention. Watching trailers for this show season 1, you would just think it's some boring, pretentious drama with the main character talking all cryptically and shit, like they sound like they're reciting slam poetry to motherfuckers that have houses in Vancouver.
I want you to imagine everything I tell you as if you're there yourself, as if you're with me, as if you are me. The biggest mistake I made was believing that if I cast a beautiful net, I'd catch only beautiful things. I didn't disappear. I was present for all of it.
What?
This shit sounds as pretentious as a Jaden Smith quote that came to life and became a French director that makes films about how toilets flush. And just in case you're not aware how pretentious Jaden Smith can be,
there are more synapses, nerve connections in your brain than there are stars in the galaxy. My God. You were once the youngest person in existence.
How can mirrors be real if our eyes aren't real?
Nigga, shut the fuck up.
So see, in this trailer, this show is not portrayed like the type of show it actually is. I mean, of course I'm not saying it isn't weird, but there's a lot of stuff that makes that weird stuff pay off. But the trailer doesn't even scratch the surface of what's in the show. Even just first season alone, I'm talking about. It just isn't an effective trailer. You don't get a scope of the vastness of the story from it. You just see all this random imagery, and you're not sure how it connects. Birds and shit. These motherfuckers are in the suburbs, and those are some pretty nice houses. They don't have any bullets in them and shit. But you don't know what the hell is going on here. This shit is vaguer than the response you get from your girlfriend after you ask where she wants to go out to eat. Thing is, the vagueness of the trailer was purposeful because it wants you to go in blind and discover that there's way more to the story than what you think the first episode. And to be fair, that whole intrigue of not knowing where the story is going after the first episode, that is an interesting experience. I can understand them wanting not to spoil that for anyone. But at the same time, you gotta make sure that a lot of people know that they would like the show. And I think there's a lot of people like myself that had no clue that they would be interested in the type of content that this show deals with. And heck, even if we're not talking about Netflix's poor job at marketing this, why was no one with a huge following talking about it? No, I mean, at least on YouTube. I'm not sure about motherfuckers on Twitter, like they tweet about it. Yeah, but I'm talking about YouTube critics. You know, like how would have millions of subscribers and they talk about shows. I mean, you don't even see that here. Other than corporate, clickbait channels, there's really no one talking about. I mean, the closest thing you get is the $3 theater motherfucker. And he didn't even watch season 2. He didn't even watch the shit. Yeah, well, look.
I don't feel bad that the show canceled because the show, in my opinion, wasn't that good.
You're delusional. You're bipolar.
I felt the first season, which I watched twice because I had food poisoning the first time, and I was like, this is just what? And I went back and I watched it again. I was not impressed with it. It was okay, but it wasn't impressive. Season 2, based upon just the descriptions that I've read, we're just okay. I'm tired of these like tell me a coherent, cohesive story, and that's where they screwed themselves.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
Dude has 31,000 subs, folks. And he'll get noticed before anyone else that doesn't. Shit. But wait. Let me put a little disclaimer here. Motherfucker, I'm not attacking him because he doesn't like the show. There's nothing wrong with not liking the show. At the end of the day, it's your opinion. If he legitimately watched season 1 and he didn't like it, nothing wrong with that. But here, how the hell are you gonna make a video that's trying to say, well, the OA got canceled because it wasn't that good, and season 2 sucked, that's why it got canceled, when they didn't see season 2? What the fuck? What the fuck? It doesn't make. Alright, fuck it. But the point is that none of the big names of Critic YouTube, or just YouTube in general, have actually talked about the OA. That's a huge reason many didn't know about the show. That's a lot of reach that the show missed out on. You've got to pressure these YouTubers to talk about the show. Like, if you give them incentive and say, oh, if I talk about the OA, I'm gonna get a lot of views and a lot of likes or some shit. You know how they do. They chase clout. They'll talk about something and and that will build awareness. So you gotta do some stuff like that. I think that's a little more effective, with all due respects, than doing movements that nobody knows what the hell is. I mean, like, look, bro, this shit is scaring folks. Wait, just look at the look at the fucking, oh my god, look at his face. Yeah, that's the exact same reaction I'd have to this shit if I didn't know what the hell this was supposed to be, like, you're scaring people, folks, you're scared. Not saying you can't do this for fun, but I think you're gonna reach a little bit more people, like make a video yourself talking about the show, all that, and trying to get bigger names to actually talk about the show. Not that I'm a big name, shit. But, I mean, this is cool for fans, like, if you know the context, you're like, oh, no, this is cute, yeah. But it's not really reaching anyone that doesn't know what the hell it's about. You gotta pressure people to actually talk about what they like with the show. So with that said, I know I wasted a lot of time. Shit, 7 minutes? Damn. But with that said, let me talk about the show. Let's go in. Now, if you want to be completely surprised by the premise going in, let me say this. This show is a solid 9.2 out of 10 for me. I especially think season 2 is the best of the show, and that's where everything's clicking and it's lit as fuck. But if you don't even want to know what the genre of this show is, just watch it first, and maybe you'll be surprised. But anyway, if you want to go in completely blind, I suggest just watch it and come back to this. Still gonna be a non-spoiler review, but still, get the point. I hate to sound like someone that's overhyping something, but when it comes to the OA, goodness, this shit is really worth it. This is a show that is about as rare as hearing that someone survived the brain operation while the surgeons were all twitching crackheads. I'm more than willing to risk being accused of fanboyism for this show, which is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I know that sounds like I'm overhyping it. Oh, listen, but hear me out. It is genuinely difficult to make something that doesn't feel like it's been done before. So many pieces of media just follow the same formula over and over again, to the point where everything is just predictable. But recently, there's media that tries to go against this, but in the wrong way, by going for shock value, regardless if it makes contextual sense for the story or whether or not it's actually satisfying. So when something does shock you, it's not, wow, I'm shocked because that's cool, it's, I'm shocked because that's so retarded. I wouldn't expect you to be dumb enough to do that with the story. It almost seems rare these days to find a movie or show that can surprise you while not making stupid decisions that make no contextual sense and excusing it by the phrase mass subversion. But the OA is a show that doesn't resort to cheap mass subversion to be different. It masterfully crafts something new by not only dealing with subject matter more obscure, but also being creative in structure. So instead of doing something random that makes little sense, the show actually puts in effort to feel different by building up these concepts in irregular ways, by using different story structure or different layouts, and in other words, not resorting to lazy-ass, unsatisfying tactics. See, director Brit Marling, who's also the actress of Prairie, aka Brit the Lit, understands this. She talked about how creative they were with the structures of episodes themselves.
I think what's happened is the average audience member has an incredibly sophisticated sense of story. They know what's coming. They know all the things that screenwriters traditionally do. Part of what we felt when we wanted to make this show, we asked them from the beginning, we were like, we don't want to do chapters that are of a set length. Like, we want to tell a chapter and we want it to end when it feels right to end. We want to do the credit sequence 50 minutes in, you know, breaking a lot of the traditions. And I think that's actually important because it's the only way to sort of shock the audience into paying attention again. And I think that's when you manage to smuggle something across.
So yeah, see, there's a lot that can be done with that. Instead of building pacing based on how long episodes would be and saying, well, oh motherfucker, this has to be an hour, so let's put it in filler, or we have to make the pacing slower so this episode lasts longer, and whatever. They don't worry about that. But I'll add that there's even more they've done than just that. She's actually selling herself short. She and her creative team have managed to combine multiple concepts that would seem completely unmotherfucking related. Well, let me just say completely unrelated instead of unmotherfucking related. Ah, fuck, I'm keeping that in. She and her creative team have managed to combine multiple concepts that would seem completely unrelated while making sure they don't come out of nowhere, for the most part. Even the shit where you're like, well, this is weird as hell. Where is this coming from? You will notice that even that weird shit has been built up, and there's some blueprints of that concept earlier. You just didn't have all the information yet. So if you watch earlier episodes, you have more context to why something is happening. And things that didn't make sense at the time make more sense. Now I know what you're thinking. The Dances with White Chicks, you're really saying that concept wasn't added in a random way? Not to spoil anything, but okay. Let's say there's something Prairie knows, and you don't know what the hell that is yet. In the first episode, you knowing that she knows something makes sense why she's telling the story in this way. She tells the story when you know what she knows. If you know that she knows what she's knowing to do, it makes more sense for her to tell a story in the way she tells it, if that makes sense. Nah, okay, I know it's hard not to spoil, but I'm not gonna give it away without you watching yourself. But really, it's hard to describe, but the shocking stuff isn't done in a way where it's like, that was stupid and unsatisfying. It's done in a way that's like, whoa, let me see what the hell happens next. Okay, and so that's the whole point. That's all the point. So even if they're adding a new concept, it doesn't come out of nowhere where it's like, oh yeah, this is just stupid. Even if you at first might think it feels that way, you're like, oh, that's why this happened in this episode. Okay? Alright. I'm being so... I know. I'm about as disorganized as a college group project that has Stevie Wonder, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown as a group, leaving no one else to actually show up and get something done other than Stevie Wonder, who now has to completely make up the slides for the presentation alone on his laptop in the same fucking trap house Bell and Brown abandoned him in. So yes, I know this is disorganized when I say this, but watch and you'll see its twists and turns aren't done in a way that's dumb as hell. So yeah, I say the OA makes you go through a journey that feels satisfying to watch. Usually a lot of shows, it almost feels like you have to motivate yourself into watching, but that's not the case here. Once you get past the first episode, I think you'll be hooked. And if not, at least watch the first 3 episodes before you give it up. And even with that, if you don't like... Okay, because if you happen not to like Season 1, because I'll be honest, there are a few things that were Detroit Become Human level of cringe at the end of the first season. But Season 2 is the payoff. Even if you think that Season 1 isn't good, which I think it's great, but Season 2 is the height of the show. It's way better because, it becomes a little more sci-fi than the first season, even though they both have those elements in it, but it's way more sci-fi Season 2. Okay, and that's I just liked it better, and I think it has a lot more. I won't spoil it. With all of that shit said, Everything has flaws. I'm not saying that everything about the OA is perfect. I mean, there are some moments where you're like, well, this character could have done this instead of that, and the situation would have been solved, or why didn't this motherfucker just do this, or something a little bit corny is here. Why is it so corny? I know, coming from me, right? And I don't know about this and whatever. Well, there's a few things here and there with any show, but the question is, do those problems take away from the experience? And in this case, that's a no. What's great is even the flaws with the OA, or at least the perceived flaws, don't really take away from the experience. There's no huge glaring mistakes in the narrative or anything that contradicts the roles it sets up, and the corny stuff is stuff you get used to. And if you don't know what I mean, just wait until Prairie's telling her story. It's some interesting shit. And there's sometimes where you're like, well, this motherfucker could have done this, and that doesn't make sense. And even some of the other characters she's telling a story to call her out on something in the story that seems off. It's like the story has a few things like this, so it gets the audience to question what's real or not. It's one example of making its flaws work for it, and making its absurdities part of the appeal. So, yeah. And okay. Now shit, I've been rambling on and on and on and on and on and on about this shit. But I'm still not done, okay? Hey, you gotta listen. Now, here's something you might wanna think about. So, a lot of shows, they want to hide behind action. They'll have motherfuckers just fighting or some, shaky cam ass fight. And they say, okay, we don't have to write anything because we have a fight. The OA doesn't really have any action in it. Now, okay, I mean, it does have motherfuckers fighting and scrummaging, scrimmage, oh, what the fuck. I said that word completely, little scruffles, alright? Scruffles. I really messed it up. But they do have little scruffles here and there. But it's not really action. Okay? There's nothing wrong with having no action. The show doesn't need it. And that actually is an upside for the show, that it doesn't hide behind action. Because a lot of shows do that. Like, for example, Stranger Things. I'm gonna talk some shit. I'm gonna throw some shade at Stranger Things real quick. Alright? Shit, do you hear that? There was already a motor vehicle that went right past when I said that. But anyway, I'm gonna talk some shit about Stranger Things real quick. Now, season 1, I think is really good. But season 2, I think is good, but you could tell that they focus more on spectacle and more like, oh, here's some shit, let's run away and all that. And in season 3, I thought that shit was terrible. I thought season 3 was garbage. I was like, I could not believe that this shit was Stranger Things. I did not like season 3 at all. So the way I see it, like, season 1 of Stranger Things is the best. It's a good, solid season, really thought-provoking, all that. Season 2 isn't as good, but it's still good. But season 3 is just a mess. Season 3 is just an absolute mess. And I don't know. I think I was gonna talk about it, but I didn't get around to it. But anyway, the OA does the opposite of that. Season 1 is good, but season 2 is even better. It builds on the ideas that have already been built up, and it makes them even better and even more out there and cooler, and the pacing's better. It improves on the season that came before. And it doesn't become sloppy and stop dealing with these ideas that it, brings up and all that by throwing in action. You're like, oh, here's action. No. It doesn't hide behind action and trying to say, well, this is a better season. No, it still has all those elements that the first season had, but it supercharges them. And again, it really comes clicking. It comes clicking. All that shit. And wait, let me continue to talk my shit. I just think that the OA Season 2 is better than Season 2 and Season 3 of Stranger Things combined. You can quote me on that. You can get mad at me for saying that. I honestly feel that way. Especially Season 3. I mean, that shit. I mean, that's not saying much. Fuck. And to be fair, okay, I'll say this. I wasn't alive in the 80s, so I don't have nostalgia for this shit. That Stranger Things, they're like, motherfuckers like, oh, look at this, and this is cool. Oh, when I was in the 80s, I love... It's like, I don't relate to that shit. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I wasn't alive, alright? In fact, you got a lot of motherfuckers that pretend like they were. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm nostalgic. Shut the fuck up. You were born 1999. Get the fuck out of here with this shit. But I only talk all that shit to say, I find the OA more genuine, and again, that could be down to personal tastes. If you are into nostalgia shit, I know what motherfuckers that are nostalgic for the 80s would be listening to my ghetto ass right now anyway. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Fuck. I'm moving on. So, all this talk about the show in general, let me get a little more specific. Let me talk about some of the characters. Yep, let's go here. Now, I already did this shit with Mortal Engines, and it would be kind of corny if I did it again. But you know me, fuck it, I'm doing it again. Gather around the campfire, motherfuckers. She really has a quirk for storytelling. She's also weird as hell the first episode when you don't know what the hell is going on. This motherfucker is saying cryptic things and monologuing. It's bizarre as hell. And it's pretty much how the character's actress / the show's director, Brit Marling, is in real life.
If the muscle of our imagination is strong, we're all capable of feeling for and empathizing with one another. And so I think we did a lot of research, but then we also just imagined, like, what would that feel like to be outside of your body? And could we upload our consciousness to some kind of cube, you know? Could we, freeze the body and then plug it back in? Is there a way for a human being to exist on a mainframe? And
But as far as her character, you know how it goes. She once was lost, but now is found. Was blind, but now she sees. In fact, hell, that might even be a Brit Marling trying to be a referencing motherfucker there. I don't know, you'll see. But again, you find out there's a lot more to her as you go through the story as she tells it. And that's where you truly learn about the character. He really likes punching things, whether it's a wall or someone's throat. Basically, this character is a combination between Farkas from A Christmas Story and this hipster band Birth Rates motherfucker. He also looks like the character from the Bully video game. Not that I haven't played that shit, but Steve's a drug dealer. But as everything with the show, you learn there's more about this character too, their background, and their thoughts. And I'm immature, so thinking of Steve's thoughts, oh my goodness, do you see this shit? She is absolutely gorgeous. What more could a ghetto-ass motherfucker ask for? She's white. She has beautiful, glowing fucking skin. And that contrast with the hair, that damn shit. And the beautiful fucking eyes, and she's white, and her beautiful fucking little expression and shit. She's white. And then her forehead is just so beautiful. And I just had to say this shit because motherfuckers will be like, oh, dances with white chicks, you shouldn't talk about that girl. Shut the fuck up, motherfucker. This actress is older than me. They're like 26 or 27, some shit. Alright, at least. But regardless, she looks fine as hell, whatever. Oh, shit. But, anyway, Steve's not just an archetype, which you think he might be when the show's just starting off. There's more. Alright, I'm fucking with you motherfuckers. You know what, I need to quit with this shit. But you gotta admit, my present Mike imitation is on point. Don't lie, you motherfuckers. Don't let his style fool you, even though he happens to look like Will from Stranger Things, but with diabetes. He's one of the most laid-back characters. This motherfucker doesn't really react to much. And not to spoil anything, but you can tell that he has regret, sadness, and grief. This motherfucker has all of that. And he looks to numb the pain however he can. So he does a lot of drugs. He gets high a lot. And he hangs out with Steve. But again, there's more to him too. But hey, this is a non-spoiler. Buck. Not sure why, but this motherfucker identifies as a dollar bill. Buck is one of the nicer characters. There really isn't anything wrong with this motherfucker. They're nice to everyone. And Buck Vu rhymes with fuck you. Come on, that's hilarious. BBA. Meet BBA. At first, I thought they were calling this motherfucker BB-8. I'm like, what the fuck? But BB-8 is a very interesting character. This motherfucker is a teacher. You listen to her voice, she has the ability to make you feel miserable by just speaking. Her voice sounds so damn sad, and you just feel bad for her the second she opens her mouth. Like she could make anything sound horrible. She could be explaining how she's a millionaire that never has to work a day in her life again. And with that voice, I'd still be like, you poor motherfucker. Like, I have sympathy for you being a millionaire.
Well, I think we all face the same hopelessness, Mrs. Montellix. Same hopelessness. Same hopelessness.
It's like that fucking voice. Stop! I'm like, oh shit, bro. You know, I was gonna be a moron that made fun of how she sound, but like, I was going like, she sounds like that motherfucker from Pixar's Inside Out that plays Sadness. And no, that's literally the voice actress. You know, that's who she is. So it's like, I would be even more of a dumbass if I tried to roast her for sounding like the motherfucker from Inside Out when that's who she. Fuck it. Anyway, Steve is one of her students. And of course, Steve being Steve, there's a beef with BB-8. There's a beef that, it's like you're gonna have to watch. Because Steve's a bad student. Alfonso is also French. Not meaning like he's from France, no. His nickname is French, and it's not Frenchy. But Perry still refers to these motherfuckers as the boys. So it's like, oh, like, Frenchie's in the boys too, but he's not Frenchy, he's French. Anyway, this motherfucker is a true hard-working student. This motherfucker also has a beef with Steve. It's like, a lot of people don't like Steve, but he has a beef with Steve too. Like, okay. And you see how that plays out. Johnson, Abel. This is Prairie's dad. This motherfucker barely speaks. He's mostly looking down to the ground and shit, contemplating some shit. So, hey, that's really all you can say about the character. But he also looks like he's always holding in a shit. It's crazy. Johnson, nonsense. This is Prairie's mother. She gets worried, really worried. In fact, she can really get into it, especially when it comes to spoilers.
She could put it online for everyone to see.
I don't know. She just came over suddenly.
No, really. Tell me. Do you want everyone to see that? To imagine anything they want? To let their imaginations run wild? People getting off on this, showing their friends, thinking they know everything. I don't even know. I don't know anything. I don't know anything.
Look. Darth Vader is his father.
But, yep, that's pretty much Nancy Johnson. She gets worried. I mean, of course, when your daughter's been missing for 7 years and they come back, of course, you're gonna be on that motherfucker like glue and be worried as hell. But, yeah. Overall, these are the main people season 1 without spoiling anything. You'll discover even more important characters as you finish the first season, but I'm gonna let you discover those motherfuckers yourself. Because even talking about them would spoil a bit too much. So again, since this was non-spoiler, I was just talking about these motherfuckers. It's funny though, at first you don't think you'll like these characters. Like, oh, this is gonna be some melodramatic trash with this motherfucker. Like, it seems like some teen drama shit the first episode, and it's like, oh, why do I care? I don't give a shit. But, no, by the end of the season, you're like, this is the squad. Especially, you feel that way, how they're handled in season 2. You're like, bro, this is the crew. These motherfuckers, they're all the crew. It's amazing. It's great. Yeah, but even with the other people that you don't know yet, same way. You really get used to all their characters, and it's like, yo, show us some more. They have their own personality. They're fully fleshed. It's pretty good. You would see even more layers to them season 2, different sides that you didn't see before. That's all. It really does do a good job with these characters. So, I know, I hate to bring it back to Stranger Things, but think about how it has a lot of people everywhere, and they're all contributing to the plot. Like, you'll see, oh, the main motherfuckers, and then there's these motherfuckers, and they're working at the same time, and shit happens. That's what this show is, especially season 2. So you'll get that type of feel with season 2. Oh, and one last thing. Now, I've alluded to this before, but again, the OA has a lot of different meshing of genres, okay? But season 1 is a little more paranormal. Season 2 is a little more science fiction. And you'll understand what I mean when you just experience the concept. The entire concept is science fiction. You'll get it. You'll get it. But anyway, with that said, it's very masterful how they blend these genres together, because it has something for everyone. If you're a fan of at least one, like if you're a fan of mystery, if you're a fan of drama, if you're a fan of supernatural stories, if you're a fan of even horror, it has a little bit of horror elements, a little bit of thriller, and then, you know, mind-bending shit. Like I said, it has it all, and it does a lot well. And then there's certain moments where it's like the Matrix in a show form, and it's like Inception, and it combines everything. It's like, bro, and I don't say that to be like, oh, well, this motherfucker did that here, and it's no, I'm saying it meshes that type of subject area, okay? Again, I was very satisfied with this show. And again, I already said this, but I really don't have any downsides I could talk about. I mean, yes, it can be a little pretentious, especially season 1. Just a little pretentious, and it's like, oh, this is a little, yeah, bro, I don't think I would have liked it. But then it makes the pretentious stuff pay off. So it's like, okay, that was a little bit pretentious and a little bit corny, but hey, it's okay. I can work with it. I still like, okay, it works, and it works with the appeal. That pretentiousness, that little bit of that, it can help with the appeal, and it's like, it's kind of funny. And it's like, it's the OA. It's just an experience. And here's some shit I can say. This gets into some controversial shit, because you know, motherfuckers love this type of shit. But I don't give a fuck about romance. I don't give a shit. I have never, ever in my entire life felt motivated to watch some romance shit. Even if you watch it with a female, we're like, hey, baby girl, shit, hey. It's like, that's not the reason you're watching it. You're not watching the shit just to watch. You're like, you're watching it so she can watch it with you, alright? You see what I'm saying? Fuck it, you get the point. Anyway, I don't give a fuck about romance. Wow, I think that was a powerful one. Let me say it again, though. I don't give a fuck about romance. With that said, I am so glad that the OA doesn't make romance the center of the show. There's too many shows out there that as soon as you have a female lead, they think, oh, you gotta have some stupid romance shit in it, and no, this is the only way. Fuck that shit. What about the fuckers that don't like that shit? See, I don't like romance, and if that's what the show is, you're limiting what your show can be, in my opinion. Maybe motherfuckers want to see that in their shit. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. But with that said, they do have a romance that plays an important part of the story, but it's not focused so much on the romance aspect. What I mean by that, it makes sense why this motherfucker would bond with them given what happened in the story. So it's not like, oh, this is just some romance shit. No. This is just, you're a decent fucking human being, bro. Like, that has nothing to do. Okay, so anyway, it lays low on that type of shit. So that's just the way I see it. And that's a plus for me. Another thing is, this is going to be controversial too, it doesn't push an agenda. That's what I like. Like, for example, the plot doesn't stop to tell you, hey, look, this character is black. Do some shit like that. Right? They couldn't do that at all, season 1, actually, but... So in other words, the plot doesn't suffer when they try to do some shit. It's still moving, and if anything is incorporated, it's incorporated into the actual plot. Other than this one moment in season 2, you'll know what I'm talking about, and that comes the fuck out of nowhere. That comes out of nowhere, and then it ends, and it's like, okay, let's just fucking move on. But besides that, there's nothing like that. It's not even preachy in the, oh, be nice to people, all the world needs is love. It's none of that, shit. So again, I think that's another plus. So I've said pretty much everything I could say without spoiling anything. Alright, so it's time to move on and wrap this up. So, Greetings, motherfuckers! Dances with White Chicks here. See how I did that? See, like how the shit comes in at the end and it's like, oh, then you're starting, you know? It's like a different structure. Oh, fuck it. Anyway, the whole point of this video was just to say I thought the OA was a really, really, really good show. So of course, this shit gets canceled. Now, before you watch this show, before you watch it from season 1 to season 2, you're not gonna understand why motherfuckers are on Twitter spamming hashtag save the OA. It's very easy to say from the outside in that these motherfuckers are crazy. Hell, I thought the same thing when I saw all this shit, but when I actually watched the show, I realized that the crazy motherfuckers are the ones that canceled it. This is something that would have absolutely blown up if it had been marketed with any competence and anyone let people know this show existed. The news of its cancellation probably did more to let people know about it than its actual marketing. It's such a shame. Not only did people deserve to know about this show that they'd likely be immensely entertained by, but the show itself deserved to be rewarded for its creativity and quality. It deserved to be discussed. It deserved to be reviewed. It deserved to finish its story. But now, it remains incomplete. And unless Netflix reverses their decision, we'll never know what a fully finished 5-season OA would become. And not only will we never see what it would have become, we'll never find another show like this. Netflix shows will come and go, and most of the time, not much of value will be lost. But that's not the case here. The OA was something so far beyond most shows. It is a travesty to treat it as garbage that no one wanted to see. So I'm gonna treat it the way it deserves to be treated. I'm gonna let people know about how entertaining it is. I'm gonna continue to keep making ghetto-ass OA memes. I'm never gonna stop calling Brit Marling Brit the Lit. I'm never doing that movement shit. Sorry, I'm not ever gonna do that shit. Fuck out of here. But I feel this is the least I could do. Maybe I can reach someone and get them to know about the OA. The diamond never dug up. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Hey, and consider getting me to 37 subs with this video. It's crazy that 37 shits are everywhere. This was my 37th video. And motherfucker, I didn't even plan that shit. It's 37 minutes, 37 seconds. This is 37 hours after the beginning of the 37th day after Brit Marling's birthday. Okay, I'm reaching. Shit.